Colombian education.
Okay, I would like to talk about Colombian education. I was reading the document, Better Policies for Better Lives by OECD. It is related with to the video that tutor was. It was a very interesting document. Yeah, education is in 2006. I think the most important elements that they want to take into account were prioritize the expansion of service to the most disadvantaged children and rural communities who could benefit the most from EC. Real, I think it is very important for us to take into account that the most important development in our Colombian education is in the countryside. When we are checking the results of for example, Saber and ICFES, we can we can see that in the countryside, teachers and students are more interested about increasing the level and the results. And the past, I mean, 10 years, the most important results in our test are in this part of the town. For example, in Bucaramanga, in Los Llanos, some schools and institutions improve so much because they are interested about doing a real contextualized education in those zones. The other situation is to ensure that all the children are in the school at the age of 5 years old, so that they learn appropriate for their age. One of the most the greatest mistakes in our Colombian education is that we are always trying to copy foreign models. Okay.
Can I ask something? That you believe that Colombia have education quality?
No, I think that we are improving in the last 15 years, but we are we have many limitations and many problems because of the government policies. We are always trying to copy foreign models and patterns, and we are doing non-contextualized education in Colombia. We are always trying to give our students some models to try to copy foreign patterns, to try to be like European and, and American people. And we are not having into account that we have our own real situation and contextualization. So I think that we need to have better better plans in order to organize our real Colombian education.
Okay, who's next?
I think I agree somewhat with what Fermin was saying, but there's a part that I think it's important, and Fermin was saying it, and some of the readings that we were doing had to do with the advancement that Colombia has made in education. And I think the struggle is that Colombia does not know where or how to introduce the economical and social impact into society. So while I believe that there is quality in the education, they do not know how to mingle the economical impact and make the students prepared and ready to face the economical impact that they can have in Colombia. And that's where they're, as Fermin was saying, they're trying to copy European and American schools, because when it comes to the schools here, they do make sure that politics works from the outside to the school system. So when the students are ready to graduate, they've already mingled and they've already have a great connection with people on the outside world where they can succeed and have a great impact in the economy. And I think that's where Colombia fails to address that issue.
That is true. I believe that Colombia needs to improve because it's not enough the present the PISA assessment, for example, because in 2016, suppose Colombia improved that enter in the 16 five countries that present the PISA test, and for that reason, the video congratulations to Colombia. But I don't believe that because Colombia, some institution, for example, private school, have good quality education, but the government institutions doesn't have quality, and we need to improve that. But the government sorry, don't. How do you say? Invierte. Sorry,
Invest.
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 Invest the education, Colombian education.
I think even though everything you say about it, that is not well prepared, that we copy in other countries, I believe Colombia is getting better in education. You know, like in the farms, the people is coming to the cities and living the farms. There is nobody to work there. But in the schools right now, they're teaching certain classes like how to grow plants, how to grow coffee, and education is going to that side so that people don't have to run to the cities. So education is, if you're in a farm, then trying to educate you to stay there, because all the farms, all the countryside is staying alone. Nobody's living there. Everybody's living to the city. So is I think Colombia is getting a big step, raising kids on the school, teaching them how to be on that part where they live, to stay there and to progress there. I think we should keep going with the next topic because the video is gonna be too long and it's not gonna be good.
Okay.
Well, the topic is really mingled all together because if you take into account what Fermin was talking about, the progress that has been made on the countryside, and as you were just saying, how progress has been made for the rural areas and rural schools, that's where Escuela Nueva comes into play. Because Escuela Nueva is meant to give opportunities to these children that are in disadvantaged situation, where they have unique curriculums and where they have unique opportunities. Not just to be a one person giving the information, but where they actually get to learn something, to have new experience, and when they learn from experience and they have new knowledge, and that knowledge they can put it into practice. And one of the things that I like about Escuela Nueva is how they are trying to reduce massive size classrooms into small groups where they can personalize education. And that's a great key because that way you can really address what are the goals that each student is trying to reach. You can keep up with the interest, and then that way you can reduce the people that's dropping off from school and make a big difference as to what is it really that your student is trying to achieve, and also how you can help them get there and succeed. That's what the Escuela Nueva talks about as a one-on-one experience. And that's one of the reasons why I chose the subject of Escuela Nueva, because even though it has to do with Colombian education, it's a new point of view on how we can do better and how we can strive better for the disadvantaged communities.
Yes. Yes, I think when I saw the video for Escuela Nueva, Uh, I think this is very interesting and motivating to know that there are people and professionals who care about the education of children in the most recondite areas in our country. No, I think it's very good.
Actually, it's really good. I came from a farm. We had a farm, and the schools close to the farm are they are teaching all these new topics and helping the kids to grow up to do something, not just run from the farms.
One of the things that I like the most is that it is not only a kind of a trend, but it is a mixed, a, a great combination of different styles. They are talking about Montessori, they talk about Freinet, and these old but very interesting schools. It is very funny because it is called Escuela Nueva, but it is a 19, a later 19th century organization, and it is very good. I mentioned before that in the countryside here in Colombia, is the best quality that we can find in school, and and I still insist on that because when you are reading and checking the results of the improvement and the actualization of these trends in education, you can see that people in the countryside, including family, community, authorities, the students, and the teachers, all are engaged in this kind of changes. But here in the great cities, the most important problem, the greatest problem that we have is the migration that you were talking about, because we don't have a real contextualized education for different students. We have all of the students are measured in the same unit, and I think it is very incoherent because we need to to try to work with different people in order to try to teach different values, different competence, different skills, different principles, because all of the people that came here because of the security problems here in Colombia and the migration and the displacement, those problems have created in the students' minds many difficult situations in order to feel part of, to belong to a specific place. And that's why I keep insisting that we need more sponsoring and help of the government. We need to have a real Colombian original pattern from education. We need to have our own contextualization because we are very different to the rest of the world. We don't have discipline. We need to be very focused because we have our minds in different situations at the time. For example, nowadays students are more interested about talking about World Cup soccer.
I think we should keep
Cities.
going, Fermin. Uh,
Uh-huh.
But we need the Colombian education need more assessment system because I think the evaluation in Colombia is very poor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a vital example that I said before that the education in Colombia is the evaluation in Colombia is deficient in the result of, for example, the result of PISA for 2016, Colombia ranked 61 out of 65 countries. The test shows the educational performance of countries in children of 15 years. which shows that the evaluation process is very poor and that our children haven't skill and critical reading, research, and math. It is assumed that the evaluation improves the quality of education. I think, from my point of view, the form of evaluation in Colombia should be critical and investigative for focusing on the needs and abilities of the students. Because Liliana said in the forum, because we aren't a robots. The method used Colombian in evaluation is some universities and school still use memorization methods. Yes, and I think say before we aren't robots like robots.
Yeah, Fermin said it real clearly when he was talking about Escuela Nueva that when it comes to the assessment systems, um, we want to measure everyone by the same rule, by the same test, by the same mechanism, and it just has to change.
But
Because that's where most of the frustration comes. Everybody can be measured in different ways, and everyone has different capabilities, and that's where we need to adjust. When we look, for example, at the American system, every time at the end of the year, each student is tested on the individual knowledge that they attain, and of course, they're graded in the overall performance of the school. But it is not a one test that will be measured at the end of an 11-year education. It's just nonsense. It's a gradual test that will let them know where you are progressing, where you can improve, and how you can do better, but never to fail the system.
But right now, that's something that is changing in Colombia. I know several high schools that are doing that. So it's not just like maybe 50 or 60%, but I think the 40% of the schools and mostly private schools are doing that. They're not just it's an obligation. It's an obligation to test the test at the 11th grade, but they are testing the people every 2 months to see where are failing or where no. Education is changing in Colombia.
But
Um,
not IFES, not the saber. Everybody's measured if you want to have higher education, you have to pass the IFES and saber. So that's
yeah,
where they
but
are.
that's what I say. That's the government test because that's for everyone. But in the other points, education is changing. The only thing is the private schools hire anyone as a
We
teacher.
need
I
we
had
need
that problem in mind that I used to work in a school. They hire all the kind of people that they don't know nothing how to teach, and that's one of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I have been working in CAFAM, but not in the private school, but in the Colegio Sin Concesión in Patio Bonito, and I like it very much the style that they work with students because we work with small groups, five, and
Wow.
when we were going to assess the groups, it was more a dialogue between us six than with the rest of the people. So we use evaluation, self-evaluation, and to-evaluation. And it was very, very interesting that, for example, sometimes uh, I, as a teacher, was a certain situation, but students themselves told me, "No, teacher, you are wrong because this student talks so little, talks just a little, but he is very intelligent. He's the one who gives the most of the information."
He's the
And
brain.
That's really
uh-huh.
nice. You see, Fermin, that's
Yes.
the contrary for my experience. I used to teach in my class, they were 40 students. 40. And the classroom was so reduced that it was a problem to walk between um, files. You cannot walk between the classes. It was really it was like well, I think like 20 centimeters from the last seat to the board. It was really difficult for me, and it was in a private school.
So much people. Our classrooms have only 30, 35, 36 people, students, and it was very interesting that all of the small groups were what we call aulic groups.
Yeah.
A grade level, middle level, and small level, and we try to get the low level student to to answer for the work of the group.
So Liliana, I'm sorry, Fermin. Liliana, Jenny, you had something else to say, or we can conclude this topic so we can just close the video with the conclusion.
If you wish to close, that's fine with me.
The conclusion was that the topic was very interesting, and we're talking about it, and really go and really enjoy that. That's it.
Okay, I think the three topics go hand by hand, you know. Colombian education is for everyone and everywhere. Whereas the new school has to see with Colombian education. The assessments has to see with the Colombian education and how our country is progressing. Little by little, but is progressing. I hope our new